Hey, welcome back, Math Gurus. Today's video will focus on rounding decimals, where we're going to use benchmark numbers and a number line to round. All right, so for the first couple of examples, we're going to just review rounding to the ones place. The next two examples will round to the tens place, and the final two will round to the hundreds. Okay, so let's refresh our memory on rounding to the ones place. Since we're going to the round to the ones place, our benchmark numbers are 7 and 8. Now, on our number line, we want to find the midpoint. And halfway is the midpoint, and the midpoint is 7 5/10. And so when we're rounding, we're trying to figure out, is it less than the midpoint, the number that we're rounding, or is it greater than the midpoint? Is it greater than the halfway point or less than the halfway? If it's less than the halfway, then that means it's closer to 7. But if it's greater than the halfway point, then it would be rounded to 8. So in this case, since 7 and 381 thousandths is less than the halfway point, that means it rounds to 7. It's closer to 7. Now, guided example 2, we have 4 and 802 thousandths, and that's actually between 4 and 5, and our halfway point is 4.5. And so the number we're rounding of 4 and 802 thousandths is greater than the midpoint. So that means it's closer to 5, and it would actually round to 5. All right, let's move on to example 3. We're rounding to the tenths place, like I said, on 3 and 4. And so we're not going to use whole numbers because we're rounding to the tenth spot. So that means we're using 9 and 4/10 and 9 and 5/10. Our halfway point is 9 and 45/100. And so our job is to figure out, where does our number land on? Is it less than halfway point or greater than the halfway point? Example 3, 9 and 418 thousandths is less than 9 and 45/100. So that means it's closer to 9 and 4/10. The example 4, our midpoints would be 1 and 5/10 and 1 and 6/10. And our number is 1 and 572 thousandths. Our midpoint is 1 and 55/100. And the number we're rounding is actually greater than the midpoint. So that means it's actually closer to 1 and 6/10, and it rounds to 1 and 6/10. All right, now we're moving on to example 5 and 6, and we're rounding to the hundreds place. And our benchmarks are 6 and 53/100 and 6 and 54/100. And our midpoints is 6 and 535 thousandths. And we want to put our number line and think about, where would this be placed? Would it be less than the midpoint or halfway point or greater? And in this case, 532, the 6, I ignored the 6. 6 and 532 thousandths is less than 6 and 535 thousandths. So that means it's closer to 6 and 53/100. Okay, and the reason we used 6, the hundreds place, is that's what we're rounding to. You can't use 6 and 5/10 and, 6 and 6/10, because we're not rounding to the tenths place, we're rounding to the hundreds place. So that's important to know. Our final example, I recommend just solving the problem on your own and answering the question in the comments. If this video helped, don't forget to hit like and subscribe.